Hello, welcome back to the Dodwell Dialogues.
Good evening.
Today we're going to be discussing epilepsy because when we post this video it will be the 26th of March, which is International Purple Day, which is a grassroots effort from Epilepsy Society to raise awareness about epilepsy. So on that day, make sure you wear purple and, ask your friends and family about their experiences
young
and
epilepsy or Epilepsy Society.
Support people with epilepsy if they know they have it.
Yeah. What did I did? Last year, the year before, I raised money for doing 50 miles a month or something, exercising.
I don't remember.
So that seems a long time ago. Yes, it's epilepsy, and we both have a form of epilepsy.
Mm-hmm. So it's a topic that's very dear to both of our hearts.
Yeah. Being in the family, Dodwell, we get epilepsy.
Do you want to explain your type first?
I haven't had a seizure in a very, very long time, and they came only during sleep. So there's a name for it, but I can't think of it. So yes, I only have them I used to have them when my sleep cycle changed. I was diagnosed with it when I was 14 years old. My dad found me...
It says myoclonic
epilepsy. Oh, here you go. So my dad found me unconscious in the bathroom, just thrashing around. And he was wondering what I was doing. And when I woke up the next morning, I had a really sore tongue, and all my limbs were really aching and hurting, as if I was running a marathon. And my parents took me to the vet.
Maybe not, good idea.
To the GP, and the first question was if I was taking drugs or if I had alcohol. I said no, I didn't. And then the visits to the neurologist consultant started, going to the children's hospital, having EEGs, reading all the graphs and see when I had the spikes in the brain. And they couldn't really work out why I had it. So it's just
part of you.
Yeah, so I've been on loads of different medications. Some of them, there was one medication where I slept all of autumn half term, because my mum read up on the sort of ingredients of it, and there was sort of ingredient was more like made you sleep.
Not like melatonin.
I don't know what it was. And one medication was highly I can't think of the name now. So yes, I had quite a few, and then in 1999 there was a new drug developed, and that was tested on women, and I'm still on that. So that seems to agree with me.
Good.
So yeah, I'm still on it,
seizure-free.
And it's a condition you have. A condition also makes you, I feel, always tired.
I get that.
You get sort of anxious, and you think about stuff more, and it's a silent illness, isn't it? Nobody knows that you've got it,
and it's lifelong as well.
And it's lifelong.
And I know for you, you've kind of kept it a secret from a lot of people as well.
Yes. Yeah, because when I told my best friends that I had it, they just ignored me. My best friend, she moved tables in the classroom, so I was just as if I had
some sort of contagious
disease, and I was just really shunned out of our friendship group, which was really hard. So I kept it to myself, and the consultant also said to, not make sure you are sure who you want to tell. So
yeah,
but you live with it and you get on with it, and there's no point in feeling sorry for yourself all the time, is there? So, and unfortunately, I think that I probably passed that gene on to you. There is epilepsy where it's hereditary. So I don't know, it might be.
On my experience, I had my first seizure when I was 4. Obviously the GPs and stuff weren't sure whether it was a seizure. They thought it was a throat infection or something, but I remember So my seizures are triggered by heat, stress, and dehydration. So I remember this. I was actually 4 years old, and I just remember being really hot, and you were also there, and I was like, "Oh, Mum, I want some fizzy water," and you were like, "No, you can't have fizzy water. You have to drink like normal water." And I was like, then refusing to drink, I think, and then the next thing I know, I was in the ambulance, with all of the paramedics, and then that happened quite a few more times during primary school, until year 6, when I remember this vividly. We were in the paediatric ward after I had another seizure, and my doctor was like, "You need to go on medication," and you were very against that idea, I remember.
Yeah, because it's putting a chemical in your body, and you do not know if that medication is going to stop your seizures. It's more like a guinea pig, or let's start with this one if that one doesn't work. And medication impacts you. It's not just, even if on the in the package the side effects, it might not say certain, but everybody's different. And I mean, I remember with one medication I was on, I put on loads of weight, or another one, I just needed to go to the toilet all the time. I couldn't, when I had to go, I had to go. And these are all things you don't realise. So, and I knew that when the epilepsy nurse, yes, maybe it's time to go on medication, we said, fair enough, because that was year 6, and you were going into secondary school, and you were sitting year 11 plus and all that, and we just wanted to have some stability for not you suddenly having a seizure.
Because I had them not very frequently. I'm quite lucky that I don't get them every week, but I had them quite often, I would say, in primary school.
I thought, no, I don't think so. It came in clusters. It was either sort of the springtime or in the autumn time. You never had them every month. It was like, I don't know, very strange. And it was always when you were either doing at the playground or you were doing PE.
Yeah, I remember. Alright, I hate doing planks now, because I remember one PE lesson in primary school, I was doing a plank and then I had a seizure. Really stressful time for me back then.
Or when the doctors and the nurses say to you, you shouldn't go swimming, you shouldn't walk in the sea by yourself, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do
lock
that.
your bathrooms. I remember getting told that.
I remember I was told not to drink, not to go out. Don't go partying, don't go nightclubs because of the lights, even though I wasn't affected by the strobe lights or the flashes. Lights. And what did I do when I was 16, 17? I did all that because I just ignored. I didn't want to be different. I just wanted to drink, get drunk. I wanted to, I just wanted to do things everybody else was doing. And I didn't tell anybody. Nobody, the teachers knew, but none of my other friends knew that I had epilepsy. I felt embarrassed by it.
No, I get that. I used to be really embarrassed by it, especially because when you tell people you have epilepsy, they either get really scared and kind of don't know what to do, or they just automatically assume that you have these tonic-clonic seizures, which is where your body fully spasms. So the stereotypical seizure, I guess, but everybody has different ones. So just because I have epilepsy doesn't necessarily mean I have that type. I mean, I know lots of people who suffer from it, and some of them have absent seizures, which is where you can't really tell that they're having them. It's just a few seconds where your mind just kind of goes blank. So I think I'm also quite passionate about this topic because people just don't know. And I used to be really embarrassed of it, I can say that for sure, but I think now I just, it's a part of me, I just have to accept that. And it's also a lot safer to let people know as well. Because I went on a trip to Berlin in October, and I remember you telling me, you were like, just let some of your friends know. And I did end up letting them know, and it turned out fine in the end. I didn't have one.
No, I mean, you've been very stable with it.
Recently, yeah.
So, but yeah, it is. I mean, when you had them in the past, everyone was different, sort of. One minute you talk to each other. I always remember that one where you were picking a birthday present for one of your primary school friends.
I remember this one. We were in Claire's.
In Claire's. And Thomas, we went after school.
With my brother, yeah.
And we were in the shop, and you were looking for things, and all of a sudden you just stood there with these two items in your hand, and I thought, oh yeah, they both look nice, and you just looked at me, but you were gone.
Yeah.
And you were all of a sudden really, your face was bright red, and I knew that you were gone. So you just flopped on the floor, and I hope you don't mind me telling, but you lost. Sometimes when you have seizures, you lose your bladder control.
Yeah.
And your brother just stood there. How old was he then? He was
4, 5.
Yeah, 5. So he just laughed and said, "Maddie just peed herself," until he realised that you were having a seizure. But your limbs were all. You just went all flat.
Last time I had a seizure, which was like over a year ago now, I kept control of my bladder, but I always throw up afterwards, and my body aches so much. I just feel like I sleep like the whole day afterwards, because I feel like I've just run a marathon. Like my muscles ache, and I think like the last one I had, which again a long time ago, but I just remember I think that was a tonic-clonic one. So I was just convulsing the whole time. And I think I was next to the table. Yeah. So I hit my table. I hit my like arm on the table, and it hurt so bad afterwards. It's
the funny thing, you tried to get up. Right, for some reason you had the urge, you wanted to get up, and you were really strong, and just trying to keep you to say no, stay where you are, and it is quite freakish, to be fair. It's possessed body. The normal girl you have, it's this shell of a body, and something is going on out of your control, and
I just get really upset every time I had one, because I went through a stage because I went on medication when I was in year 6, and then I've been on the same one the whole time, and it worked for a really long time. And then my doctor was like, I don't think there is a chance you don't have it anymore, so let's start taking you off of the medication because you might be seizure free. And I got to, I think, being off of it for completely, so we did it in stages, being off of it completely for a few
6 weeks.
I wasn't completely off of it for 6 weeks. I was completely off of medication for like, I think it was a few days, and then I had a seizure. When was this, like year 10? Year
10, yeah. And then we said to get back on medication straight away. It was just
honestly heartbreaking, because I sort of had this hope that, I didn't have this thing anymore, because it does make you really scared. And whether you like it or not, it limits certain things you can do in life. But yeah, and then obviously I had one over a year ago again, and I was absolutely heartbroken afterwards, because I thought, the medication it does control it, but it just breaks your heart every time, I think, because sometimes I forget that I have it, and then these things happen, and you're like, oh yeah. But yeah.
So it is, and it's. I understand my mum now, how she felt and how she still feels when she hears the ambulance siren, or if you get the phone call from the school.
Yeah.
Your heart just drops, and you think, please don't let it be Maddie. Please don't let them say she has a seizure. You need to come to school. And then now it's even worse, because now you are more independent, and you go on the train, you go out in the evenings. There's always this sort of little tiny worry in my head, thinking, if she's gonna be okay, what happens if she has a seizure when she's in a pub somewhere?
Yeah.
Or that's why I was glad you never went to the beach with other friends. Well, the thing is, if all your friends are drunk, or had under the influence of alcohol, and my nightmare was you would be down the beach and you have a seizure falling into the water, and they're all intoxicated. None of them would bloody know what to do, and they probably would laugh at you having that, what you're up to, you know.
But I think it's not even a case of being intoxicated. I think there's just not enough education on epilepsy and what to do regarding epilepsy. So even if people were perfectly sober, I just think you just wouldn't know what to do. And for the record, if you're watching this and you don't know what to do, time the seizure. So if it's longer than 2 minutes long, call an ambulance. And if you're unsure about anything, just call an ambulance anyway.
Yeah.
And also don't hold people's bodies down.
No.
Because there have been some cases where people have been convulsing and they get pinned down and then end up breaking bones and injuring their bodies as well. So just time it and call an ambulance if in doubt.
Make sure that the area around you is clear, so you don't bang your hands, your arms, because it really hurts.
And if it's somebody wearing a skirt, just, you know, once they've finished, if they are, you know, convulsing, just try and cover them up a bit.
Cover them up,
because it does take quite a while after a seizure to...
Yeah. Maybe have either a cushion or a coat or something to put under their head. What are you laughing? Sorry, the husband is there as well, cheering you. So yeah, just make sure the surrounding areas are
clear,
free of furniture or anything, and maybe don't stand around and just look at her.
Oh my gosh, I remember there have been so many times where I've had a seizure and it takes me quite a while to wake up. And I remember once I was in primary school, because I can remember these things so vividly because they are actually quite traumatic. And I just remember the nurse was sat opposite me, like doing like that on the desk with her fingernails, like tapping her nails, and then there were like about 10-15 teachers just standing around me, and I was so because I have no recollection of what happens, because when you have a seizure, at least for me, it just goes blank and I just can't remember what's happened. So I wake up and I feel like absolute
everybody
shit.
Looks at you,
and everybody's looking at you, and you're like, oh, it's everybody looking at you that makes you know that you've had one. And it's just horrible. But yeah, if somebody has a seizure, just kind of stick by them, but don't get too many people.
Yeah, or if you have like a coat, or if there's a blanket, maybe cover them up afterwards, because in sometimes people wee themselves, so it would be nice to cover them up so not everybody can see that you've done it. And once they are done with the seizure, maybe put them in the recovery position.
And also just keep talking to them as well, because when I have seizures, I can hear people. Like, I'm not physically able to respond, but I can hear people, and I think you being there a lot of the time helped, you know, calm me down, because I just feel a bit paralysed.
You do, because it's not your body. You feel you are somewhere in. I just remember you somehow somewhere in there, but you are locked in, and something has taken over your body, and you try to fight it, but you can't, and just the feeling of your limbs going, and you don't want them to go, but you can't stop it. It's not fun, and just ask, you know. Ask Maddie if she can, if you see her, or what you can do. And
if you know that your friend or family or co-worker or etc. has epilepsy, just tell them, like, I'll be here for you, you know, if you need. And just try and educate yourself a bit. I mean, there are loads of resources on the internet.
Yeah, and don't laugh, because that's, I think, one thing when you have like first aid training and stuff, and then somebody acts as having a seizure and they flop on the floor and go, not everybody goes like that. No. So and there's another one is like more absent seizures, isn't it? Where,
I mean, there are so many different types, but I can't talk about them all because I only really.
Well, migraines are.
Migraines are also a type of.
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah.
So that's us, and we are normal people. We are not deceased.
I'm gonna have to put like bells on us, like we have leprosy.
Oh, no, thank you.
Yeah. But the history of epilepsy is weird as well, because wasn't it in like Salem or something, where if you had epilepsy you were considered a witch?
Yeah, because you were possessed by the devil.
There's such a massive stigma about it, and I think even now, like even today, I've just had like jokes about epilepsy, and like people, because I've been quite open about it recently, people like telling me to grow up. It's just a bit like, I take it as a joke, it's fine, I'm not offended by it, but it's just like, at the same time, you know, is that really necessary?
No, I don't think so. I think we should, you know, if you say to somebody, I've got diabetes or I have that, everybody's fine and accepting about epilepsy. Because it's not been researched enough, because there's no money in it.
It's probably also a bit more daunting, because if you do have like the big seizures, it's quite scary. Because I remember in secondary school, my epilepsy nurse came in and taught me and a few of my friends about it, and we watched a video of somebody having a seizure, and this was the first time I'd ever seen someone have a seizure, and I was like, this is so scary. Like, imagine how people feel, like how people who are close to me feel.
Because you are helpless, because you can't tell the person on the floor to stop shaking, and it's just to ride it out really. But yeah, if you're in doubt and you see somebody having a seizure, just call the ambulance. They are brilliant. They will say.
And you won't get in trouble for calling the ambulance either. They'll probably thank you.
Yeah.
Because it's always best to be safe than sorry.
Definitely. So we had a couple of fun rides, didn't we, in the ambulance?
We did, and I remember once Thomas came with us and they turned the sirens and the lights on for him.
Yeah, and every time you wake up from it, you have some funny stories to tell. So you talk to the ambulance guy saying you woke up telling him a story, and we
because
said no.
I have dreams. Like I don't know whether this is while I'm having a seizure, or I don't know whether this is like after I've had the seizure and I'm like asleep. But I remember I had one at a zoo once because I was doing a zoo week. And I remember dreaming that I was trapped in a gorilla cage, and like the gorillas were on top, like climbing all over the cage or something. I can't remember all of it now because it was a long time ago. But yeah, I probably ended up telling them about that.
And you told one of them that you were standing in a line and you were waiting, and you were still coming out of that sort of sleep, and you told the ambulance paramedic off. For that, I am standing in the line. I haven't skipped. I'm standing in the line, and we were saying, it's okay. You just had a seizure. It's like, no, I was standing in the line.
Whoops.
But yeah, they've all been very, very, very good and helpful and kind. So thank you to all of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a mysterious disease, and nothing. I don't think. The research, there's more research needs to be done. Yeah, and also when I got diagnosed with it, the process was absolutely horrible. So you have the EEGs, which is they put like little metallic electrodes on your head. And I just remember, because I have curly hair, it took hours to do it, to sort it out with my hair and stuff. And I also remember they used to like flash lights in my eyes once I had these EEG, the things on my head. And it would just be like 10 minutes of them flashing lights in my eyes, and it was just horrible. I just felt like a test subject the whole time. So I had a couple of those, I think, because it wasn't just one. And then I had to have an MRI scan. Yes.
And I remember being so scared. Yeah. So I made you come in the room with me. So I was like, so the MRIs are like a big tube sort of thing. So I was in this big tube that was so loud. They're so loud.
It's so cold in there as well.
And I remember Mum was sat like holding my foot because you weren't allowed
to move. Because they strap your head in, so your head is really still, so they can take the image of your brain.
And I remember they said like I had a cluster or something on the left side of my brain.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Was it? I can't remember.
I think there was like because I remember seeing the MRI and it was like a thing of my brain, and then there was like a splodge on the left. I don't know what it was.
But the MRI scan is to see if you've got any sort of tumours or any bleeds or anything on the brain, so you didn't have anything.
No, I don't think that, but I was like, there was definitely a diagram where there was like a darker patch.
Oh, I don't know.
Or just like talking about it makes me feel a bit.
But they've sent the MRI up to the Bristol hospital to say that he couldn't see any abnormalities. But they could have done there's another MRI, like a deep scan, and they only have that at the Bristol, where you're an adult now, so you can't go there anyway.
And I can also tell quite a lot of the time when I'm going to have a seizure. So you have these things called auras, which are like sort of like headaches. I mean, I don't really know how to explain it. It's just like a concentration,
it's like a feeling, isn't
like a
it?
feeling in my head. I actually get them quite when I talk about it. I don't know whether that's placebo or not, but I can like feel it in my head. And I remember one time I was like, I could feel it, and my dad was there, and I was like, Dad, I'm going to have a seizure, and then my neck just turned, and then it just kind of went black from there.
And then you were possessed.
And then I went possessed. But yeah.
Oh, do you remember when you had to have a sleep EEG? When they tried to do the EEG when you were asleep, so they gave you some melatonin.
No, but didn't I not sleep?
But because it was one of these benches, those flat, horrible.
Oh, they sent me home, didn't they?
They sent you home.
Yeah.
And it was so she was supposed to have this sleep EEG like at 4:00 in the afternoon. They gave some melatonin to go to sleep. But it was so noisy outside in the corridors. So every time you tried to drift off, something happened, and you was like, ooh, and she woke up again. So that never worked out.
I can't sleep in hospitals.
Yeah, it's not a sleeping. I remember when I was in hospital for like a sleep EEG, I didn't sleep because you're so nervous. And I was really scared. I didn't want to be. I was 14 and I never been in a hospital before, and my mum and dad couldn't stay because I wasn't young enough anymore. So I was in this bedroom, and I was too scared to go to sleep, so that didn't work.
Yeah, no, like the whole diagnosing process just wasn't nice.
No, and unfortunately in England the neurologists are quite a rare species. There's not that many of them around. But I must say the epilepsy team we had at the hospital, they were brilliant.
Yeah.
They were always there when we needed them, and at the beginning, one of them, we did a bowling evening, didn't we? Then we met another girl.
And now she's like one of my really close friends. So that's nice.
You know who you are. We used to go to the musicals
if you're
in
watching
London.
this video.
So it's not, and it's nice for me as a mum to talk to another mum whose child has got epilepsy, because other parents don't understand, because they say, oh, she's on medication now, she's fine, but it's
but
there's
always a chance.
It's not just that, it's about this constant worry you have that is the phone ringing because of you being told that Maddie has a seizure, or is it the hospital somewhere that found her, and it's you know, it's not as easy as that. Medication is great, but that doesn't put the worry away, really.
And I remember because I didn't, the first time I drank alcohol, because I got really scared that I would have a seizure while drunk. I remember I went round to my Lila's on the mic.
You're gonna put your opinion forward.
You went to the girl's mum and you were like, oh, Maddie has epilepsy, and I remember you said, I don't think you told me that I couldn't drink, but you were like, just be careful.
When was that? With
Jasmine. Her first, yeah, because you told me I don't think you told me don't drink. I think you told me just have one, or don't have a lot. Don't overdo it.
Yeah.
because, not because you were scared, but like obviously, you know.
Well, because you are taking medication, right? You don't know how the medication interacts with the alcohol.
Yeah, I think my medication has side effects. I mean, I'm very grateful that it works and that I haven't had to change. But I think it's made me gain weight. And I think it makes me very tired because I am tired all of the time. And when I went through that period of time where I went off of my medication, I was so much less tired. I was nowhere near as, because I'm just tired every day. Like, I would say I get 8 hours of sleep and I can still wake up tired. It's just draining.
I'm tired all the time. I wake up in the morning and think I'm tired.
Yeah.
I think that's just part of having that condition.
I mean, it could be epilepsy or it could be the medication or it could just be both. It sucks really. But also I have to be grateful because it is controlled now. I haven't had one in a long time, so. It's
good that there is medication. I wish there was more research in why it happens or how it can be. Almost things that my epilepsy started because I had I don't know, was it when you're 14 you have a injection for thingies, and she thought that was after that, because after that I don't know, is it rubella or something? I can't remember what it was, but I remember having that injection and then going to handball training. And after feeling really hot and having a temperature, and she thinks that came from that.
Stop.
So, but you don't know. I mean, and the thing is, you know, when the hospitals and doctors ask you, oh, have you got any family history of epilepsy? Well, nobody keeps records of that, because having epilepsy was one of the worst conditions to have. You kept that quiet, or you were sent to like an asylum.
I remember doing Nazi Germany for GCSE history, and we were looking through the list of, you know, groups that Hitler would target, and people with epilepsy were on that. I was like,
Yeah, it's scary, and I think it must run in all my side of the family, because she was telling me once that one of her aunts, she was cycling back or something and she disappeared for a while, and then they found her on the roadside with the bike. You know, I mean, you didn't talk about that kind of thing. Back then it was all hush hush, you're not telling anybody.
I still think it is though. I still think it's not talked about enough, and I think we need to talk about it more. Because it is a very common thing to have.
Yeah, and you can develop it at any age, can't you?
And anything can cause it. I mean, it can be hereditary, or it can be caused by head injuries.
Yeah.
Or, you know.
Or by an illness.
Or by loads of people have it. They just don't talk about it.
No. Because it still has this being embarrassed feeling about it. Or if you have like a bad experience, like I had with my best friends, they were supposed to be just all of a sudden shun you.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, if I wouldn't have told them.
But they're not worth being your friends then. If they're going to leave you because of that, then they won't.
Oh, I know. I made some other friends, and I felt alone quite a long time, but I think it was a couple of months, and I made some other friends. But it's just something that just makes you decide not to tell people anymore.
No, I get that. I mean, I've already said, but like even now people still make fun of it. It's just...
Is that because they find it funny or because they're uncomfortable about the whole thing?
I think it's because they're uncomfortable. I mean, because I was talking about it literally earlier today in lesson, and just, it was a group of boys, which, you know, not to be sexist or anything, but this is typically, I've never had an issue with a girl making fun of epilepsy, but they were just like making fun of the whole thing and like pretending to convulse, and I was like, I took it as a joke because I'm used to it now, but it's just like, I'm fine with it, but you know, someone else might not be, and
I think it's understanding, you know, it's don't make fun of it, because it hurts it hurts your feelings. Even
and it's not something you can control either, because trust me, if I could stop having it, I would.
Yeah.
Because it affects me every single day. And I might not have a seizure every day, and I might not have had one in a long time. DVLA if you're watching. Just a joke. But I'm still extremely tired every day.
Yeah, it's all the side effects.
It's a constant worry of having a seizure, because sometimes I get auras and then the seizure doesn't follow up, and then I have to take medication twice a day, and I know that if I don't take them, then there's a chance that I could have one.
Yeah.
So it's just that added stress of remembering to do that, and now that I am 18 and I can go out and celebrate and drink with my friends, it's just being scared. And I think I went through a phase where I was really scared of doing anything by myself, and I think I had a bit of social anxiety, but I also think that it was a lot because of the epilepsy. Because if I'm by myself in public and it happens, then because of the lack of education, I don't know whether anybody's going to be able to help me.
Yeah, well, we used to have a watch which had the little medical sign on it.
I stopped wearing. I was so embarrassed by it.
And have you got it as your emergency?
I have it on my phone. I have it on my phone as like an emergency.
Yeah, she doesn't. She
but
doesn't
it was
want
like
to
a
wear
pink.
anything.
It was a pink watch, and she made me have like these tags on my bag with like a medical symbol, and it was like epilepsy in all caps. And it was like it was just embarrassing, because I'm not embarrassed now, but in secondary school it was just an embarrassing thing. And then people would look at it and be like, "Oh, what's this?" And they'd be like, "You have epilepsy." It's like
making fun out of
yeah.
that. Yeah, I think there needs to be a lot of education in schools about how to treat people that have a medical condition and to make fun of them. Because
I mean, it's not just epilepsy, it's like everything.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that we have experience in. So.
It's tough having a condition as it is, but then having the additional fun made out of it, and that just adds another bit of pressure, doesn't it? So yeah, be kind to each other, don't make fun of each other, support each other. That's what I would say. Yeah,
definitely. And just maybe do some research as well. It doesn't take that long.
Oh, ask.
Or just ask.
So, God, what are we doing, eh?
Don't know.
We're not doing too bad.
No, we're both fairly good at the moment. It's just, you know, even if we haven't had one in a long time, either of us, it's just constantly at the back of your mind.
Yeah, it's have you taken your medication? The
Every
amount of time I ask you, especially
and every
when
time
you go
I
out.
go out, she's like, make sure you pack your medication in your bag. And I don't get annoyed when you say it, but I'm like, fine.
Yes, I know, I've got it.
But I understand.
Because I don't want you to be out and then think, shit, I've forgotten that. What I'm gonna do? Because then you go into a panic state and you're stressed, and then that could then trigger one. So, what I'm gonna do when you are all in Switzerland and stuff?
And I'm living with a GP, so
do I send you alerts? Message, Maddie, have you taken your meds? Have you taken your meds? You have to order them.
Oh, yeah, and I remember going on school trips and stuff as well. They'd always make a big faff out of it, out of the medication. Like my year 6 trip, it was like I had to go every morning and every night and sign some sort of sheet. Oh, so faff.
Well, it's just to protect themselves, isn't it?
I know, but it's just.
Yeah, but you know, it could have been worse. They could have maybe in the olden days, they could have maybe said, no, I'm not taking you. It's too high risk.
True.
So, and you wanted to go, and that's the main thing.
Yeah.
So it's extra. And I mean, any medication somebody has to take and has to go to the teachers to have them.
And it's just
dispensed.
it's just embarrassing. It's not something you should be embarrassed about, but it's just, you know. And also potential friendships and relationships. I personally haven't lost any friends or boyfriends because of epilepsy, but I know you have. But there's always this fear in me that as soon as I tell people, they won't want to be friends with me anymore.
That's probably the fear I passed on to you, so I'm
No,
sorry
it's
about
fine.
that.
But it's just, I think there was a long time where I didn't want to tell anyone because I was so scared that they were just gonna leave.
Because, yeah, you don't want, you know, it's fine to be upfront about it, but people do get funny. And you don't want to, maybe, especially when you've just met people, don't want them to go away straight away.
But yeah, well, my close circle of friends, I would say no now. And I've started telling other people, but that's what it is, really.
Yeah, and I guess, I mean, the people who don't like that idea of having a friend with epilepsy, they just are not worth it, I guess.
No.
So.
I mean, it's not a deal breaker. Like, it shouldn't determine whether you're friends or not. It shouldn't, you know.
No, it shouldn't. So, are we wrapping this up here?
Do you want to wrap it up?
I think we've had enough chatting about epilepsy now.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, 26th of March, Purple
Day.
Second Monday in February is International Epilepsy Day. That's already passed, though.
But we always do Purple Day because there's loads of, maybe you could do an assembly about it.
I was thinking of doing an assembly, but I'm so busy at the moment. I might talk with my head of house tomorrow and see if I can do one soon.
Because there is, you can get leaflets and stuff for
Yeah,
Purple
I need
Day.
to do that soon then because it'll take a long time to arrive. But I think just, you know, we are trying to educate about it as well.
Yeah, so don't be afraid, ask questions.
If in doubt, phone an ambulance.
Yeah, or the GP or whatever. Please don't stare.
Don't make fun of it because some people are fine with jokes, but other people are not, and it can be a really embarrassing thing.
Yeah.
Because you're not in control at any point.
No. You're possessed
Yeah,
by your brain.
Again, if I had the choice not to have it, you know.
Oh, definitely.
I used to wish at night, like every night, that it would go away. That's really sad. But no.
Yeah, you don't want to have to take medication all the time, do you, really?
And just, you know, be there for your friends. I mean, whether they have epilepsy or diabetes or something else, or whether they're normal, just make sure that you're there for them and that you tell them that you're there for them as well, so that they know if anything were to happen that they'd have somebody.
It's not a big deal. It's just part of you. It's not an issue. So yeah, I think that's it now.
That's it.
Thanks for listening.
Yep. Hope you enjoyed the video.
Yeah, I think next time we'll speak, it will be after we return from our little trip abroad.
Yes, in Switzerland.
Maybe we do a little vlog. Is it a vlog?
Let's do a vlog.
A vlog.
Vlog with a V. No, with a V. 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 Not V.
Oh, it's a foot in German.
It's a V. Well, we're not speaking German.
Okay.
Vlog.
So, goodbye from the Dodwell Diaries household.
Yes. Dodwell Dialogues.
Oh, don't. Dialogues. I'm just making another name.
Goodbye from the Dodwell Dialogues.
Bye.
This is what he does. He just sits there and listens and makes judgy faces.
Yeah, and funny noises.
Funny noises. So if you hear any funny
Farting
noises,
noises.
That's Dad drinking his wine.
He provides the background noise.
Background music.
Right, alright. Bye-bye.
Bye.
It's all getting